Welcome to my island. It's very well established that the best way to teach the concepts behind fraction multiplication is with an area model. So based on that, we've designed an activity on Fogstone Isle based on an area model. So here we have a farm. It's a farming activity, and it's actually a turn-based strategy game that lets you create a farm and try to grow fruit-bearing plants to feed your family of gruffins. So these plants over here are my fruit-bearing plants, and I want to irrigate them enough to take over the entire farm field and get a lot of fruit. But the problem is these are weeds, and they also want to take over the entire field. So this is a turn-based strategy game where I'm trying to take over the field and they're trying to take over the field, and we're battling. So each move involves irrigating some subsection of the field, trying to get your own plants to grow without helping the weeds grow, and getting into battles with weeds as you're extending your plants. So let's take a look at making my next move. So to make a move, I choose which sub-area of my entire field I'd like to irrigate. So let's say I want to irrigate that much. If I could irrigate that much, I end up irrigating all of my plants. But this is my water tank, and it takes a full tank is what it takes to irrigate exactly the entire unit field. And I only have 0.21 of a tank, not enough. So here, with a quick estimate, I see I probably need about half of a tank to water what I want to water. So that means I can't make the move that I really want to make. So let's pause for a moment and look at what we just did. Now, it's well known in the neuroscience of learning that when you're learning a concept, if you can learn it through as many brain areas as possible, like visual, visuospatial, numeric, and so on, all at the same time, then you develop a more densely interconnected network of knowledge about that concept, and it makes it easier to recall just when it's relevant to something you're trying to do. So here, I chose a particular sub-area of my farm field that I wanted to irrigate. So first of all, exercising some visuospatial skills, some motor skills, and as I did that, I immediately saw the numerical representation of what I just chose, and here's the equation representing what I just chose, the sub-area of the field I just chose. Now, I also did a mental estimation, roughly what would this be and would it fit into this, comparing the resulting fraction to decimal and how full the water tank is. So I just exercised a whole bunch of different brain areas all around the concepts underlying why fraction multiplication works the way it works, all having to do with what portion of the entire unit field is this area that I'm trying to water, because that tells me how much of the water tank I'm going to use. So what I've seen is I don't have enough water to do what I want. So let's see if there's another good strategic move I can make that's not quite as good as that one, but still helpful to me. So these numbers tell me the strength of my plants, 5 being the strongest, which means if I water a 5, those can grow offshoots, extend themselves further into the field, and can also do battle with weeds. So maybe I'll water just this strip. So let's see if I could actually afford to do that. So here I have 4/6 times 1/4, and I need to multiply. Now, earlier in this game, I've learned about cross-simplification, which is the idea that if the numerators share any common factor with the denominators, you can factor that out, and thereby you make your mental arithmetic simpler. So let's take a look. Well, here's a shared factor, 4 and 4. And so with this tool, I could factor out those 4s, and lo and behold, I've just made my arithmetic trivially easy. In general, learning mathematics includes learning all kinds of transformations like that: equivalent fractions, simplification, cross-simplification. And what we do as we teach these things is we put kids in situations where they may be able to use various techniques, and they have to decide what's a good next step to make my work easier. In this particular case, I made my mental arithmetic much easier by doing the cross-simplification. So now the answer to this multiplication is trivially easy. I barely need to think, and here I go. So I'm watering these plants, and let's see what happens. Ah, here I am, battling with the weed, and great. So I just killed off that weed and extended my plants a little bit. And let's make one more move and see what happens. Now I have about 1/4 of a tank, and I think I have enough to water this whole strip. Let's take a look. Well, I have 2/12, and it's multiplied by a number less than 1, so very clearly I have enough. And let's divide out any common factors. Here's the 6. And now again, I just made, thanks to cross-simplification, my arithmetic trivially easy. Let's make my move and see what happens. And there you go. So in a typical game like this, most moves you end up doing 2 to 3 mental estimates in order to choose your best move strategically. And so you get a lot of exercise in making estimates, and again, we're exercising many different brain areas in making these different choices. So as the game goes on, it takes a number of turns to complete the game, and with each turn I may make progress, the weeds may make progress, and finally somebody takes over the entire farm field.